Goofy movie came out in 1995, if you can believe it. Do we have any 90s kids in here? Yes. Awesome. Well, let's jump into it so we can meet our perfect cast. Let's welcome the voice of Max Goof, Jason Marston.
Hello over there, hello over there, hello over there, hello over there.
And keep that energy up because we're going to welcome the voice of everyone's favorite dad, Goofy. Come on, Bill Farmer.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, my God.
Right, what a crowd.
Good to see you again.
Yes.
Great.
Wow, packed room. Not surprised, though. How are you guys? Welcome
We're doing
to
great.
MomoCon.
Great.
How are you
MomoCon.
liking
Love it. This little kid came up to me and was like, it should be called MomoCon. We'll have lots of cows all over the place. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, is this your first time in Atlanta?
Nah, I've
No?
been here before.
No, I've been here at another con,
Okay.
but no, I've never been to MomoCon, so
Oh,
that's
well,
the first
welcome.
time
We're
here.
happy to have
Yeah.
you.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Y'all put on a good show.
Yes.
Sure.
So, first of all, are you surprised at all by the sudden popularity of a Goofy movie? I think, over the past few years, it's really kind of resurfaced.
Yeah, it really has in the last couple of years. I knew it had like longevity. I had no idea, almost 30 years later, that people would still care about it.
Right.
Because, when we did the movie, it originally started as a Goof Troop movie. There was a DuckTales movie after the show DuckTales. There was a Goof Troop movie, supposedly, after Goof Troop. But it kind of, and we actually recorded that. We actually recorded some of the first day of that with the cast from Goof Troop. And no, that didn't kind of work, so it went on the back burner for a while, and they kind of made it into a buddy-buddy picture. And then it took its present form. And it was a very long process to make that movie, maybe about 2 years, I think, by the time it was in,
off and on, yeah.
until it off and on, new scenes and everything. And that's where I met my son, Max.
Oh, Dad.
Gosh, what is it there, Maxie?
Oh, man.
Amazing. Why do you think millennials in particular are so attached to Goofy movie? What makes it resonate with them so much, do you think, in your opinion?
What age is the millennials again?
Yeah, what age is?
All you guys in here?
30s, right?
30?
Uh, 30s.
Probably because they watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
They grew up there. Now they have
Late
kids of their own. And it is a family. Like the common comment I get about a Goofy movie is like, oh, I watched it as a kid and I felt I felt for Max. It was like, man, Goofy let up. He just wants to go to a concert. And then I got older, and I'm like, man, Max just let up. Goofy just wants to hang out with his son.
Yeah, it depends on how old you are as to what point of view. And a lot of people came up today and were saying, in the beginning I kind of, identified with Max, and now I identify with Goofy. And who doesn't think their dad's Goofy?
Yeah, right.
So, I certainly did, and my son did, because my son was he's a little younger than you, I think, isn't he,
Yeah.
in real life?
Yeah.
And he was about, obviously, because when the movie came out, he was about 5, I
Yes.
think. And it totally confused him because he didn't know. People would say, "Oh, is Max your brother?" And I didn't think I had a brother. He totally screwed him up for about 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, as you were mentioning, a lot of the people who watched it as a kid are probably now parents themselves. How do you feel about this being such an intergenerational, impact?
I'm just glad people still enjoy it. I mean, the fact that it seems to have affected so many people in so many ways. So many people say, I couldn't really talk to my dad, and that's kind of our movie, and we watch it together every year and everything. And that's just heartwarming. I mean, that you have something that some movies look dated. A Goofy movie doesn't, because it's the same kind of things that parents are going through with their kids as they were back then. So it's kind of an evergreen kind of thing, and it just stays relevant, I think.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, you work on, we're actors. We're like, friend, described it like being a plumber. Like they hire us, for a skill. We go to the house, we do the thing, and, we forget, and they forget about it. and acting is sort of similar. We work on so many different projects. You don't know how it's going to resonate with people. And when I was working on this, I definitely recognized it was special. It
Yeah.
was different. Had no idea I would be invited to places like this and be talking
Not
to
this
people
long after.
like yourself. Yeah, no way. That'd be like people wear a Powerline shirt with Prince logo on it. I mean, like it's kooky crazy in all the best ways.
Yeah, that's amazing. Bill, like I've always wondered this about people who played like these like iconic characters. I mean, Goofy obviously was around for
Yeah.
several decades. How was it like? Did you feel intimidated filling those shoes of voicing such a like pivotal character?
It was kind of, I'm glad it was kind of a good case of just being ignorant. I just moved to Los Angeles to see if I could do anything in animation because I was a stand-up comic, did voices and that kind of thing out of Dallas. And I moved to LA, and about 5 months later, my agent said, do you do any of the Disney characters because they are trying to set in stone the voices. They had, at the time, 4 or 5 guys doing Goofy and Max, well, not Max, but Mickey and Donald and everything, and they wanted to settle on the best voice for each of these main characters. So you always heard it, whether it's from a thing in Walt Disney World or Disneyland or on a record or in a TV commercial or whatever, they wanted one voice. And I had no idea. I just got a cassette of the original Goofy and practiced it over one weekend and, practiced the laugh and, oh, yeah, gorge, and all that stuff. And I had no idea. I'd laid it down, and about a month later, they said, hey, they'd like to use you. They don't say that, oh, you're the voice of Goofy forever. No, it's for one job. So I didn't want to get my hopes up too much. I thought, well, I hope they hire me again sometime. And I did one job called Disney's Doggone Valentine. I had one line of dialogue. It was terrifying because I'd never done that before. And about a month later, they called me again and again. And about 2 years later, I had a series, Goof Troop, and that kind of took it off. And there's no other characters like these characters because, wow, Mickey's been around since 1928. He's still on TV every day. And Donald and Goofy and everything, these are kind of evergreen characters, where a lot of the characters I do the series and nothing else ever happens. But Goofy's been there the whole ride. It's very rare, and I'm very honored that I was at the right place at the right time and I had the right sound. That's kind of it, really.
It's amazing. And Jason, tell me about the, like when you got the role for Max. What was your audition like? How did you feel when you got the role?
Audition was, again, called me in. It wasn't a secret. They're doing a Goofy movie, and they're looking for Max. And I knew that Max was voiced by the late amazing Dana Hill in Goof Troop, but they were looking for an older sound. I think they wanted, because it's a feature film, they wanted a naturally male sound instead of a female actress putting on a younger voice like Tara Strong or Grey DeLisle would do. I went in. I did my best. It seemed I was 18. And, I knew they said Max is supposed to be like 14. He's, he's in school. He's, going through some puberty. He's interested in girls and going to a concert. So I figured, well, he's young sound. Maybe his voice is sort of cracking a little bit. So I kind of infused that in there. They liked what I did. They brought me back a couple times. I met the director, Kevin Lima. And then I booked it. And I was beyond excited because I was a big Disney nerd. Still am. And I had only met you just briefly in passing, and I knew exactly who you were. I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember I was doing promos for Disney Channel, and you and Wayne and Rusi kind of walked in the room. It's like, there's Disney royalty just walked in. I'm sharing space with these guys. It's amazing. You were super nice to me, and now I'm, how much closer can you get, to being in Disney-dom than being Goofy's son? So yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read something that shocked me, and I meant to fact check it, but I was curious. One of the producers actually wanted Goofy to have a different speaking voice for a feature film because he thought that, there's no way the audience can put up with the Goofy voice for a whole movie.
Yeah, I've talked about that before. They were trying to find a more real Goofy. So they, after about a week of recording, they came to me and they said, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was kind
I
of
wasn't
head
trying
of
to
the
name
movie.
names.
Yeah, he said, Jeffrey wants you to have a more real sound. He wants you to use your own voice, kind of more like Max is a real person. And what? No gorge or anything like that. No, use your voice. And I'm going, why? And so I actually recorded better part, a week, probably a week and a half of this, of me doing, hi, Max, how are you doing? That's what they wanted. You're there to please the people. And, I'm going home at night thinking, oh, God, this is going to be terrible because don't they want to hear Goofy in a Goofy movie? And finally, at the time, they had an Oscar presentation, and they had an animated Snow White with Rob Lowe. And they had the traditional Snow White, I'm wishing, all of that kind of stuff. And no, then they didn't want that. I want a 90s Snow White. I want a Julia Roberts kind of Snow White. So they recast it and had Snow White, who you never would have known it was Snow White unless they'd announced it was. And she's saying, oh, yeah, Swifty, my agent, said this would be good for my career and stuff. Well, it got so much hate mail that Michael Eisner and Roy Disney found out what was going on our set and said, don't change the classic Disney characters. So I had to re-record about the whole movie that I'd done up to that point. And they did the same thing to Jim Cummings as Pete. They had him be replaced by a couple of different actors that came to read around the barn again to the traditional Pete voice. And so for a movie that should have taken probably 4 or 5 days of principal recording and a few days of pickups, I did about 40-some days of recording on that movie over a 2-year period, which I actually mentioned to Michael Eisner once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Soon after that, Jeffrey left the studio. So I don't know if that had some. Yeah, I was at a party and I knew I stepped in it. He said, well, how's the Goofy movie going? Yeah, gosh, I've already done about 40 days on recording and everything. He goes, what? 40 days? Oh, how much is that costing me is what he's thinking. Yeah. And so after that, we just kind of got to into the groove of the movie and found its soul, and because it is different for Goofy. In Goof Troop, he is pretty silly and high energy, Saturday morning kind of energy, whereas Goofy in this one had to have emotions he never really had, worrying about Max. Is Max going to go to prison? Is all this stuff? So we had to kind of add that to Goofy without losing Goofy and finding the right pitch for that movie. And luckily, I think we did because of the longevity of the movie, and it came out. And I knew that the movie had heart because I saw an early screening of it on the Disney lot with my son, who was about 5 at the time. And part of it wasn't even animated. It was animatics, and Eisner's sitting there, and these guys, and I hope they like this thing and everything. Well, coming out, my son started crying a little bit. I said, what's the matter, buddy? Didn't you like the movie? He said, well, when Goofy went over the waterfall, I thought that was you. So I said, it's got heart. And I said, and I knew from seeing it before it even came out, and they didn't publicize it much at all, but I knew it would be a hit, and it was. And thanks to you guys. That really was.
People always ask me what my favorite scene in a Goofy movie is, and it sounds weird, but I always say Goofy and Pete in the hot tub. And there's Pete right there.
Yes!
Yes. Woo, right. Thanks for stopping in, Pete. But it's a great example of like what Bill was talking about, like a grounded performance. Like that's a grounded conversation between two of, let's say, I won't say Goofy, the zaniest, broad Disney characters having a real conversation about being dads trying to deal with their kids. Gotta keep them under your thumb, Goof. My son respects me, my son loves me, and Billy just knocked that out of the park. I mean, it also highlights how actors who do animation are doing maybe broad animated characters. But also be able to bring it down to a grounded level. Not everybody can do that, but Billy can and did.
Well,
yes,
thank you. Thank you.
So back in 2015, you guys did the, I think, Goofy Movie 20th anniversary panel at the D23 Expo.
Yeah.
How was it like finally meeting Tevin Campbell?
That was awesome.
Yeah, I'd never met him when we did the movie. He did his songs and stuff at another time, so I'd never met him. And then we had this 20th anniversary, which was out at Walt Disney, where was it? Anaheim Convention Center.
Yeah.
At the D23 convention. And we had, there were like 10 things that were like on the Disney website. See these panels. We weren't even listed.
Yeah.
Oh.
as one of the top 10, but we were #1 in audience satisfaction.
Yeah.
We beat out the Star Wars channel, and they had, the Star Wars panel, and they had, I think, George Lucas and Harrison Ford, and
Yeah.
we beat them out.
No.
So I was real happy about that.
Didn't they put us in a smaller room, not expecting?
No, it
but
was
they-
like people were out in the hall, and
Standing
it was
room
packed.
only?
It was
Yeah.
like 1,200 people packed into a room. And gosh, when I went out on stage, I counted it on the video, and it's like 2.5 minute standing ovation we got at the end of that thing. Which, when I came out, people went nuts and everything. I looked around, I thought like Paul McCartney came out, or something. And it was amazing. And
Well, tell 'em
the
who-
highlights, huh?
Tell them who, because at first what I heard is that no, they thought Tevin wouldn't be interested in being part of that, but who actually got
Oh,
him?
my wife did.
Yeah.
She said, we need him there, and was able to track him down and said, we'll drive you down. He wanted a ride down to Anaheim, and we'll drive you. It doesn't matter. You got to come down. But he was great. He went out and did Eye to Eye live in front of the audience, and Jason and I got to sing The Open Road live,
Yeah.
which was a travesty in my mind that Jason didn't get to sing the songs in the movie because they didn't know he could sing, but he could and did wonderfully live in front of a live audience.
Show
which was
business, not
great.
show talent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There were a whole lot of things on that movie.
But nobody
that I-
expected, Tevin Campbell was a secret. So
Yeah.
we're all doing, interviews. They had Kevin Lima, our director. They had a few people, on the screen answering questions or doing dedications. Bill and I sang a song. That Rob was there, Jim was there, Jenna Von Oy played Stacy was there. And then at the end, all of a sudden, like it was a real Powerline concert. Kevin
Yes.
comes out. They had choreographed dancers.
Really epic.
It was epic.
Yeah,
It's on
it
YouTube.
really
You can check
was.
it out.
Highly recommended.
It was a Powerline concert for sure.
It was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, loved it. All right, so because this movie is about a road trip, what was the last road trip you guys took? Not together, obviously.
Yes, well, we've been on road trips before, I think. So, what was the last road trip I went
remember.
on?
You? When we went to Tuscaloosa? Well, my but
I go by air. Is that a road trip? I don't know.
my lovely girlfriend who lives in New Orleans. We've been doing long distance for 6 years up until we're going to move in a month. Finally,
Wow.
yes. So there were a lot of road trips. Either I would drive to New Orleans or she would drive to Nashville, or we'd meet in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That was like the halfway point. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Yeah, yeah. Go Tuscaloosa. Yeah, in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the last one I did, in my car, was just a trip up to San Francisco with my sister, who'd never been there. And so we went up the coast, Highway 1, and that was cool. That's the last one I think I took. I used to take them all the time when I was a kid with my parents, because my mom came from Tallahassee, Florida, and I grew up in Kansas, so we would drive from Kansas to Florida. It'd take 3 days, and no air conditioning in that car. And my parents had put like little boxes in the back of the old car. My sister got the seat, I got the floor. So we had a little rug down there and a little towel, and I had to stay down there for 3 days while I drove.
Wow.
I had a similar thing when my parents and I moved from Rhode Island to California. It was a long cross-country road trip, and it was a van full of boxes and 2 cats.
Cats.
And in order to save money, we'd stop at the RV places, and like my mom would sit in the front, sleep in the front seat, Dad in the driver's seat, I'd sleep on the floor. And after a couple of nights, my mom was like bitching about that. She's like, no, we're gonna go to a hotel. For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Were you 2 Disney fans at all as you were growing up? What kind of Disney movies were
Yeah,
you?
not, I wasn't, like nuts for Disney movies as such. I liked a lot of the live action ones. I've mentioned I liked the Absent-Minded Professor because I was a science nut when I was a kid, and I tried to make flubber in my country, my little chemical set, and it never worked, and that kind of stuff. But I was a fan of animation, but of all the Disney characters, Goofy was my favorite, and I guess that's why I was walking around the house and, gorge, howdy, Mom, and something's weird with him, It just kind of freaked him out, I think.
I've been since when I landed in California and we lived in Anaheim, so close to Disneyland. After I went to Disneyland, I totally drank the Kool-Aid. I was in it, loved it, loved all of it, studied everything. Then there was only like one Disney store, and it was in the Glendale Galleria. and that was like this mecca of Disney merchandise, and I would save all my allowance and buy all the things, and I'd get the magazines and read up on the voice actors and all that, and you know, we didn't have Disney Plus back then. We barely had video stores, and they didn't release a lot of the movies. You know, I think they just had Jungle Book and Peter Pan, and then, you know, when they would roll out like Pinocchio or and Snow White, they didn't even release that on VHS until much later. But I tried to grab onto as much stuff as I could. But I was always a fan of Disney. I especially loved animation, animators specifically. I mean, I think they don't get a lot of credit, you know, these magicians. So I would study up on those guys as well.
Yeah, I had never been, come to think of it, I'd never been to Disneyland until after college.
Okay.
And it was on a road trip with a friend of mine. After college, we came out in his little MG 250, which was a tiny little car. In 16 days, we drove from Kansas to L.A. to San Diego, up to San Francisco, over to Reno, down to Las Vegas, and through the trees. And
did you all sing along together?
Oh, we got sick of each other. We punched each other out all the time. And but we went to Disneyland that one time, and the next time I was the voice of Goofy. So
wow.
I'd only been once before in my whole life.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. To play off the themes from the movie, everyone has been embarrassed by their parents before. Are there any stories of your parents embarrassing you when you were growing up?
Yeah, I embarrassed my parents more than they embarrassed me, really. I remember my dad was a member of a local social club called the Lions Club. And when I was a kid, I wanted to go with him. And I don't know why the kid wants to go. And it was out at our country club, and they had a chicken dinner. And I guess he took me out there, and I got on my little suit and everything, went out there, had dinner. And then I turned to him and says, when are the lions coming out? I thought they were like lion tamers on the weekend, and like, you know, all this stuff. Kid's weird. I don't know. He's a stupid kid. I don't know what he's going to do for a living.
Amazing. Okay, do we have any fans of the 2000 sequel, Extremely Goofy movie?
All right.
Awesome.
Extremely,
amazing.
yeah.
What was it like to reunite 5 years after the first movie to record that one?
Well, we didn't. we recorded a Goofy movie together, off and on for a couple years. We recorded Extremely Goofy movie separately. I didn't see you at all.
3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was. It was much more formulaic. They had the formula, and now Max is going to college and Goofy's following and stuff. So they had the script already totally done. So it was just like reading a play. Whereas a Goofy movie, we did scenes that never wound up in the movie, like in The Open Road. If you see the little nebbish guy and the big girl in the car and they're singing a line, well, there was much more of them, and she turned out to be actually the heavyset woman singing in the power line, which I didn't know at the time. And but there was a whole scene with them that never made it in the movie. And I remember there was one where Goofy is going hunting with Max, and they were going to shoot this deer. But it turns out to be one of those iron deers on like one of the Hartford Insurance Company buildings, and it's like that, you know, or she's not falling over, you know, or something like that. So there were a lot of little gags that didn't get in the movie that we recorded, and maybe they'll show up in the documentary. I don't know. That's,
This is going to be the last question before audience Q&A, and then once we do open it to Q&A, we're going to line up here. But as we're doing that, this is my lovely assistant, Rachel. All right, what was your favorite line to record from both movies?
Oh, well, I always go to one of my favorites, and it took me the longest to do, was when Goofy's in the car and the Bigfoot scene, and he says, "How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?" For some reason, I had to do that about like 28 times to get it right, and I think they took take number 2, you know, so.
It wasn't like you weren't doing anything wrong.
No.
It's like the conversation was, how do you say that line?
Yeah.
How does it, we tried different
and we
inflections.
tried it different ways, emphasized different words, and they found the one they liked.
Yeah. For me, it was the very first line I ever recorded, which was in the big argument in the car when the car's falling apart and it's losing control and going down the hill, and it goes off and it lands on these buttes, is that what you call them? And it's I never want to go on this stupid vacation. But we didn't know if we wanted to be, I never want to go on this stupid vacation, or we wanted, like, you want to hit every butte, that sort of thing. So that was that was my first recorded line, and it broke me in that way. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, first question.
Hi, so what is your observation of older fans versus newer fans of the movie? Like myself, I'm an older fan. I saw the movie when it first came out, and now we're seeing a new generation of fans that are seeing this movie for the first time. Is there like a difference of how they view the movie or anything like that you've noticed?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what we mentioned before. The older fans used to be the younger fans. It's been around that long. And so they kind of came to it from Max's point of view in the beginning, and now when they have families, they identify with Goofy's position. So neither one's, right or wrong. It's just, okay, they have this viewpoint, and it seems like most people get both viewpoints over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say just from meeting everybody, the reverence seems to be the same. It's the excitement and the affection seem to be the same. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi, guys. Bill, I got to meet you earlier. Again, huge honor. So I don't know if you know the term, I was today years old when I found out this.
Yeah.
I was today years old when I found out you voiced Chester McBadbat in The Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, you like Chester?
Love
Yeah. Is he your favorite Fairly Odd Parents character?
Unfortunately not.
You know, if anyone needed fairy godparents, it's me. I don't even know who my mom is. Like Max.
You see, you're not wrong. Chester did need The Fairly Odd Parents.
What's that?
Chester didn't need Cosmo and Wanda, though.
One more time.
I completely agree that Chester did need Cosmo and Wanda.
Man.
Yeah. So I got to know, what was it like working on that show? Because that was my favorite Nickelodeon show.
What was it like working on Fairly Odd Parents? I loved it. I don't know if maybe you're today years old when you find out I wasn't the first Chester. The first Chester was Frankie Muniz, but then he got famous doing a TV show. I was available. But I hadn't seen Fairly Odd Parents, and Frankie was using his own voice, and so they just sent me this picture. I'm like,
Oh, he looks like he talks like this. All right.
and I'd never met Butch Hartman before, and that was wonderful. It was a full cast. It was always a full cast. It was Tara Strong and Darren Norris, Susan Blakesley, and Carlos Elsraki, Rob Paulson. And Butch is, I am one of those arrogant actors. I'm like, I don't do line readings. But Butch gives line readings, and I love getting line readings from him because it's his show, it's his energy, and so he was always pushing me to go louder and faster.
Yeah.
and it was just so much fun, and I love playing Chester because he was just the wicked crackpot. I love him so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, guys. It's a huge honor. Thank you, guys.
You bet, munch, munch, munch.
Gorge, it's Pete.
Oh, hey, Pete.
Hello there, neighbors. First off, why did you change the map? I'm kidding. That's not the real question.
You gotta speak into the mic, Pete.
No, the real question is that how did you feel when you did the live-action iteration of the scene from Goofy Movie when you went into that animatronic show you went to?
Yeah, we did a live action scene of Lester's Possum Park. And we went to, he had done, what was the first one that he did? He did
you've seen on YouTube.
Day After Today.
They did the Day After Today live action, shot by shot remake. These guys in Arizona, and they asked us to come and play Max and Goofy.
So we did that in
Lester's Possum.
Phoenix. It was like 115 outside. And it was fun because we looped ourselves. We didn't actually add new dialogue. They used the soundtrack from the movie. So it was odd doing a scene that we'd recorded like nearly 30 years ago, doing the looping to our own voices. It was very surreal, but it was a lot of fun.
I
It really was.
had so much fun watching this guy because he was having a blast. And we were like really into it, and I couldn't keep a straight face. I was like, this is adorable. This is so much fun. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. The guys who do it, like, I'm surprised that, like, they sell, like, what was it? Because we were shooting in the back of, like, by day,
Yeah,
they were made industrial batteries.
Yeah.
but they also did their own promo for them. So they had film equipment in sort of like a small
a green
stage.
screen kind of a little room and
Yeah.
everything, and they kind of animated this themselves and everything.
Yeah.
It took a long time, and they had people that looked like the weird little girl that
Yes.
has, you know, and all of this stuff, and we're just going along with the scene, doing a little piece
Yeah.
at a time. And if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. You can find that live action scene, Lester's Possum Park. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I think that's the first time I've actually had to use me looping Goofy as myself. That was very odd.
Oh,
My friend, what's going on?
hey, there's a theory on Tumblr that Goofy is half black and from the country, and I was wondering what your take on that is.
Well, first off, you got to believe everything you read on Tumblr.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you hear the question?
Yo, I didn't hear that.
That on Tumblr there's a theory that Goofy is half black and from another country.
Oh, okay.
No, from the country
yeah.
of, like,
No,
South
he's
and-
Like
drawn in America. Oh, I've heard Goofy's a cow, and so, no, his original name was Dippy Dog, if you want to know. But it was D-A-W-G, and people say, well, how come Pluto, who I also voice, is a dog, and Goofy is walks and wears clothes and stuff. It's like, and I just say, well, he's kind of like, and it's my theory. I have no idea. But no, he's Dippy Dog. He's not a dog. They gave me a little, like the Goofy Bible when I first started doing this. Goofy is not a dog. He's an anthropomorphic creature. It's like, and I always say, well, he's kind of like a wolf is not a dog, but he's a canine. So it's like Canis Goofus might be, his species of canine, but it's not a dog.
All right, thank you.
But if you want to think that, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, great.
It's an honor to be here. Quick question for you regarding Goofy's wife / Max's mom.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you guys have any theories about what has happened to her and if you think she might show up in another movie.
In 35 years, no one has ever mentioned who Goofy's wife is. I have a theory that I think it was Jessica Rabbit before Roger. That's my theory.
Think about it. Think about it. Roger Rabbit. Roger and Jessica are talking. And he's like, what'd you think of his good love cup? Better than Goofy. Like she had that experience.
There might be something there.
It must be
who
the
knows?
overalls, right?
That's
it's
my
the
theory.
overalls.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it was kind of during Roger, and it was like sort of like a key party.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Who knows?
Oh, God. Okay.
I'm not a Disney employee. I can say whatever I want.
Okay. This is more of a generalized Goofy question, I think. So, the iconic Goofy scream,
Uh-huh.
I'm curious, do they make you record a new one every single time? Or do they have like one perfect take?
They
that
should have done that, but they don't. It's hard to get it as close to the original, which wasn't even done by Goofy. It's from a 1947 cartoon, The Art of Skiing, and it was a guy named Hans Schroll, who was a yodeler, and he yodeled in that cartoon, but he did the Goofy yell. And I had to do that many times, but it seems like every script I get that has the Goofy yell, I do it over. They don't say, well, we got it in the library. No, I do it every time new. So, sometimes they want short ones and long ones. Make it a little longer. I always have to do it twice because I drive the engineer deaf with yelling because it's really loud when you do it just full blast and everything. And bust the microphone or something, but and they have to re-EQ, and they got to set the room right. You got to get a little farther away from the microphone, and then they got to put reverb on it so it sounds good and everything. They should just one day let's just do it and get it out of the way, and have the right. Do it until we do it right, and use that one. I wish they would, but we do it new time each time.
All right, thank you. Hello, it's finally nice to talk to the real Hot Pop and the real Normal.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. Thank you so much.
What was it like coming back together, if you guys did come back together, for Mickey's Twice Upon Christmas? It's like the return of Goofy and older Max.
Yeah, they were quite. I'd forgotten about them, and I watched them this last Christmas, and they're really good. I don't remember. I don't think I actually recorded with you on that. Most of the things we do are solo. I did a series, Goof Troop, which was an ensemble. All the actors are in the room at the same time. And we did it like a radio play. We did that some with the Goofy movie. We also did our lines separately so they could take the best takes. And but most all the time now, especially during COVID, I work out of my studio at home. Like third season of Amphibia and Mickey's, Fun House and all of that, I do at home. My son's an audio engineer, and I just go down into a bedroom I made into a little recording studio, and we do it that way. Still do it that way, and it's not near as much fun as doing it with all the other actors in a room, and you get a lot of energy off of them. But that's kind of the way we do it. So I don't even remember recording that.
All right. I definitely recorded that one by myself as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still a good story. I think it's my favorite out of the whole time.
Dig it, my man. Thank you. Hello, lovely.
Oh, she's cute just like me.
Hello.
What would you do if you did another Goofy movie and Max was the father?
Oh my gosh.
I did, yes.
Wouldn't it be fun to see Goofy as a grandpa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd never know when he went senile, I think he went senile. Gorge. Yep, he went.
You said that already, Dad.
Yeah. No, that would be, obviously the choice for another Goofy movie is Max, and maybe wound up with Roxanne, but he didn't have her in the second movie.
Things change.
Yeah, okay. He found someone.
Relationships
so they could have
happen
kids.
when you
They'd
go
have
to-
goofy grandkids.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Max would probably first, there'd probably be some point in the movie where Max turns to Goofy exasperated and says, Dad, I'm sorry I treated you that way.
See, now maybe Goofy gets back with Jessica Rabbit after.
There you go.
Maybe, a long-lost love, and who knows? You can come up with anything.
What would you like to see? What do you think would happen in a third
Yeah.
Goofy movie? Yeah, you.
I don't know.
All right.
We don't either. We'd write a movie and make $1 million, so.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Yes. That's nice.
Hello.
Hello, thanks. Hope y'all are having a good time.
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much. So my question was about, something I thought was really interesting about an extremely goofy movie was, admittedly a small section, but the moment after Max leaves his home, it's very clear, not maybe as a child, but definitely when I grew up, that Goofy was dealing with a lot of empty nest syndrome.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff of that in the first movie as well. And one question I wanted to pose to you, Bill, is what do you think maybe draws you to these really relatable and really goofy characters that are both really sentimental and kind of absurd? Also, the last thing I had to say is thanks for making me cry harder in Amphibia than when Goofy fought that rock in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Well, yeah, I always like the scenes that are kind of heartwarming because usually it's a lot of jokes and stuff like that. And when you can add layers to a character and flesh him out more, it becomes more real to you. And it's also a challenge as an actor to pull that off because, how do you make Goofy sound really, like remorse or anger? He doesn't usually get angry or hurt feelings, and that's kind of the sad clown syndrome, I guess, or something. But that's why I like in the first movie the Lester's Possum Park scene, because here he's trying to have fun with Max, and Max isn't having any of it. And that scene when he throws I don't want to go to a stupid rat show, and throws the hat out, and it's like upside down in the rain and the lightning and everything. It's just very sad, very sad. But those are fun scenes.
I'm sure half of us in this room have had overbearing parents, and Goofy definitely displayed being an overbearing parent. But what I dig about Goofy is that it comes from a place of just pure love. I mean, he just loves his son so hard. That's why it was so hard for me to perform being so mean to him as Max, because if I talked to my parents that way, I would get such a smack. Oh my gosh. And then he just didn't I was like, oh, he doesn't deserve to be treated that way. It's I get wanting to go to a concert as over hanging out with your parent, but from coming that's why Goofy's so, so celebrated, because it's all heart, man.
First of all, I just want to say I really hope that you have heard the Goofy singing Evanescence on YouTube. Scott.
Would you repeat that? Yeah.
Goofy singing Evanescence, Bring Me to Life on
Goofy
YouTube.
singing Evanescence.
It's a YouTube thing. Like it got really viral a few years ago.
It's amazing. It's so funny.
Goofy singing Evanescence song?
Yeah, he sings Bring Me to Life.
But is it someone else doing Goofy? It's
Yeah.
clearly not.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going senile. Okay. I don't remember doing
Next,
that.
like, did I record that?
My question is for Jason. Does anybody get like really thrown off that like you voice like all of these characters? Just like they find out, because I just found out today that you also voice Kovu.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you voiced Kovu. Does anybody ever like, how could you like ruin my life like that?
What, you know, like Hot Topic Simba?
No, it's just like I don't know how to like combine like, okay, this person who voiced this like lovable little kid Max, like he also voiced like Hot Topic Simba.
And then I talk like this. Isn't it crazy? I don't know.
I find it extremely flattering. I get invited to these events all the time, and sometimes people will show up thinking, oh, I'm going to go and see Max, and they'll look at my table, and I have other things there, and they just get excited, like, wait, you do this? You do that? I find it extremely flattering, and it's a lot of fun for me, so yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so excited to meet you guys. I have a question. So, Max and BJ eat like what is the best looking pizza in animated history. I was wondering if either of you had found a comparable pizza in real life and where.
Couldn't hear
The
that.
real question.
In the scene with you know about that meme where PJ and Max are eating the pizza and it's gone viral. They're like, no one could find pizza this perfect. And have we ever found pizza that perfect?
No.
Nothing beats animated pizza, man.
When I was about 10, my neighbor and I made a pizza. My parents were out of town, and we made our own pizza. First time I'd ever done it, and we decided, we'll just put bacon on it. You know, but we didn't cook the bacon first. We figured, well, it'll cook in the oven when you cook the bacon. You have to take the pizza and like pour off the grease, and then we took like spray cheese, the Leaning Tower of Cheese right there, you know, and we ate it, but we got sick, I think. So.
Yikes! Thank you. It's happening.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. All right. I just want to say thank you for playing Hop Hop and Amphibia.
Oh, I'm so happy. I love doing
and
Hop
thank
Hop.
you
as well.
for playing Haku on Spirited Away.
It's my pleasure. You can call me Master Haku.
Yeah. One question. What is the greatest Powerline song? Stand Out or Eye to Eye? I want to know right now.
Oh, I love Eye to Eye. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite.
I'm gonna make it difficult and say Stand Out.
Yeah.
How about they're both amazing?
Yeah, they really are.
And the
The
unreleased
music
album
in that
is
whole
gonna be
music,
outstanding.
movie.
Yep.
Was great.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I just said the music in that whole movie was great. I thought.
Yeah.
That's
What about you? What's your thoughts?
I gotta say, Stand Out. When Max performed it at the school, it was crazy. It was amazing.
Seems like a good cosplay, convention anthem because it's like, talk about standing out above the crowd, even if you got to
Yes.
shout it out loud with your costume, with yourself, with your personalities,
Yeah.
Like yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right.
Cheers. What's up, GL?
Hello.
Hey, man.
So, my question was, we haven't actually seen Max in the Kingdom Hearts series, and I was wondering, what role do you think he would actually have in Disney Castle, and if he was actually a knight, what weapon would he use?
Oh, man. Look, please don't kill me. I've never played the game. I don't know what you're talking about. He would be dressed as a knight, and he would have a glowing red sword that shot hearts and Powerline songs out of it.
Yeah. Well, he could take over for Goofy when Goofy went senile. So
Yes.
yeah, it was like,
Yes. Maybe that's why they haven't put him in the game. It's like, no, that wouldn't work.
we need to get him in there, though. Yeah.
I would like that. That'd be fun. It's not. I wish it was up to me. If you know what, if you want Max in Kingdom Hearts, perhaps suggest that on your social media to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, we have 8 minutes left, so we're gonna do a lightning round.
Excellent.
Lightning round.
We're gonna
Bring
get
it.
through as many people
Thank you,
as
GL.
we can.
What's up? It was Nick, right? Nick.
I'm Chris.
I said that.
Now I remember. Yeah.
What did you hear?
Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey,
Lightning round.
Bill.
Good to
hey,
see you.
Jason.
Chris.
Yeah, these are questions kind of together, like say.
Yes.
On account of Bill. Yeah. I always know that Goofy and Clarabelle Cow make a good couple.
Oh,
also,
maybe.
already know you also voice Horace Horsecollar.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see what would Clarabelle be with Goofy or Horace Horsecollar.
Oh,
I just
she
thought it'd
could
be
play
both,
the-
but I think just sometimes I'd be thinking Goofy.
Yeah, she could play the field and have both of them, I think.
That's very good. That sometimes I be thinking about that all the time ever since watching those cartoon shorts a little, and how the romance with Clarabelle and Horace, and then the romance with Clarabelle and Goofy.
Yeah.
That's what I
It
be
could
thinking.
work, you know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yep. Who knows?
Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
What's happening?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My 4-year-old self is screaming right now, but I just wanted to ask a quick question. Okay, so as Max got older, he's more comfortable with his goofy laugh.
Yeah.
I noticed that in like the House of Mouse and everything.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, Jason, do you do his goofy laugh or is it Bill?
I learned it from my dad.
Actually, in the beginning of a Goofy movie, it starts out as Jason and it fades to me. So it is both of us that they blended together to make that laugh.
Okay.
But I learned it by watching you.
Okay, thank you so much. It's nice to meet you.
You bet.
All right, 6 minutes left.
All right, this is a question more for Jason.
Yes, sir.
How was it like playing Tak in Tak and the Power of Juju?
Tak and the Power of Juju. Yes, in the video games.
It was so much fun. Today years old. Yeah. It was a good time. Worked by myself. Did 3 of the games. Just growing up, like, wouldn't it be cool to voice a video game? Got to voice a video game. It was pretty dope. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Here.
Hi.
Hi, this question is specifically for Jason. I was wondering, what are some of your absolute favorite characters that you voiced? You're one of my favorite voice actors of all time.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And hear that? Favorite voice actor of all time?
I did. Unfortunately, I heard that. No.
You're very sweet. It's like picking my favorite child. I can't pick the one. I love Max because, the joy it brings you guys. I worked on a cartoon called Rescue Bots, and that character I played named Cade was very much kind of like my own personality, a little arrogant, and I love the people I worked with, Hocus Pocus. It's a whole other thing. I mean, I could go down the line, but they all mean so much to me.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. More love, yeah. Love your shirt. Dig it. Hi.
Hi, so I want to know, what is the key to breaking in the industry? My client, she already has an agent who isn't sending her on any auditions right now.
The key to breaking into the industry is it helps to have rich parents because you got to support yourself while you get going. Right. But it's all about acting. I took acting lessons from a guy named Dawes Butler, who was a voice behind all the Hanna-Barbera ones, Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound. He was to say, learn to act. It's more important than the voice. And also, I did 5 years of stand-up, so in front of a live audience, you learn how to say a line to get the most out of it. You can't really think about it too much in the booth. You just get a script, and you got to make it kind of come alive. So stage acting is really important, but it's, as he used to say, it's not voice acting, it's voice acting. The acting is the important part. Acting lessons.
Thank you.
Yeah, training, absolutely paramount. Be diligent, if voiceover is what you're looking for, go to a website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Just check that out.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Answer all your questions.
What's happening?
Okay, it's great to see you guys here, and I had a question for Jason. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm aware you did the Tak series, but I was wondering, why didn't you come back for the cartoon?
Say that one more time.
The Tak cartoon. Why didn't you come back for it?
So as the voice of Tak in the video games, I was not the voice of Tak in the cartoon series because, arrogant, they wanted me to audition for the series. I'm like, I did 3 games. What else do you want me to do? Bring me in for the pilot. Let's work it out and see if we work. Because I know the creatives for the TV series were different than the creatives for the video game. So yeah, it was their right, but I was like, I just don't believe in that. I feel they should have brought me in, worked with me, but I was on my high horse and like, no, so they cast someone else.
That's showbiz.
Fine. Yeah.
That's what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
What's going on? We're going to get through everyone?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So how is it different to record for games versus animation? And have you recorded anything for Kingdom Hearts 4 yet?
Okay.
Don't answer that last question.
No, I just found out about Kingdom Hearts 4 yesterday here from a fan, so I didn't even know about it. But I know I got work coming up because they do it in Japan first, and then we loop it into English, and that'll be down the road. It could be tomorrow, it could be 5 years from now, who knows? But games are totally different because they're non-linear. You get a script, and quite often, like a regular cartoon series, you go from page 1 all the way through. Games can be thousands of lines, and it can be go to page 18, do this line, go to page 27, do this line, and stuff like that. And it can be hundreds, if not thousands, of lines. I did a game, one of my first games was one called Sam and Max Hit the Road, and I did the voice of Sam. And that was a great, but we just had reams of paper with lines. I did one where it was kind of like Yakuza, I believe. I played Detective Date, I believe it. And just the folder was this thick with just hundreds and thousands of lines. But you don't get the story that way. You just have a line like, quit, okay, now next line. Like that, okay, let's go, whatever it is.
Yeah, and they can be more vocally stressful depending on the action in the game.
Oh, yeah, they always say the last day I don't like to do video games too much because they rip your throat up. I did one game where it was like the army guys versus the zombies, and the actual direction was, okay, the zombies ripped your arm off and he's beating you with it. What's that sound like? Ah! And you got to do that for about an hour.
Okay, give me an A, B, and C take. Yeah, that's
yeah. And then you talk like this the rest of the day.
Yeah. My friend.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to find out, are they planning on doing a spinoff of Amphibia?
I haven't heard of one yet. I hope so, because for any Amphibia fans, I think it was a much-loved series, and I don't want to lose old Hop Pop. I like doing that.
I know. I learned a lot in season 3.
Yeah. Right in. They listen to that
hey,
stuff.
I do that. Happy late birthday, Goofy.
Happy
the
90th
worst.
birthday.
I'm that old? Yeah. Well, I didn't know.
All right, unfortunately, this will be our last question. I am so sorry.
Oh, pressure's on.
Okay.
Hey guys, so when you gave us some extra context about scenes that didn't make it to the movie, you rekindled a question I had away as a parent. So when you held up that cigarette lighter when you were heating the soup, saying at least this is good for something, was there something about I always thought, oh, maybe Goofy's mom died of lung cancer from smoking or something like that. Is there anything to that?
Yeah, Goofy's smoking all over the house and stuff, and so she gets a tumor, Who knows? I don't know. There could be a lot of fun things with his mom.
I just remember being a kid and being in the car. My grandfather was going to run an errand, and I'm like, oh, what's this? Pop it in. Oh, pops back out. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so it's only for one thing, cooking soup.
Yeah, Goofy just used the cigarette lighter to heat a can of soup, so that's okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's give it up once more.
Thank you.
And Bill.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
How about our moderator here?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to see Bill and Jason, they will be at the Walk of Fame tomorrow. Bill will be there from 10:30 to 12, and Jason will be there from 2 to 4:30. So
maybe even earlier.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll get over there earlier than that.
All right, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your convention.